Chapter 1, Insertion. Day 1. The traveler designated Unit 7 materialized in the alley at 14 hours 47 minutes and 3 seconds, exactly 17 minutes before patient 0 would experience first symptoms in the hospital 6 blocks north. The temporal anchor burned cold against his chest, a disk of crystallized chronology that had punched him through the membrane of causality like a fist through wet paper. His optical array calibrated to the afternoon light, filters adjusting for the pollution haze that hung over the city like a promise. March 7th, 2047. The last normal day humanity would ever know. Unit 7's chassis was 68% synthetic, a frame of carbon fiber musculature wrapped around the quantum processing core where other beings kept their souls. His face retained enough organic tissue to pass for human at a distance, skin grafted over titanium cheekbones. Eyes that could still dilate and tear though the emotions behind them had been excised with surgical precision. He was a precision instrument, designed for exactly this: extraction, infiltration, temporal intervention. The shape-shifting weapon mag-lock to his right arm hummed at standby frequency. In its compressed state it resembled an oversized pistol, but its smart matter composition allowed instant reconfiguration. Blade, scattergun, precision rifle. Whatever the tactical situation demanded. His mission parameters scrolled across his visual overlay. Primary targets: Dr. Marcus Venn, epidemiologist, research wing, St. Catherine's Hospital. Dr. Elena Cross, neurovirologist, Neurodynamics Corp., Sector 7. Minister Sarah Holt, Health Authority, Government Center. Objective: extract consciousness matrices before contamination. Preserve pre-infection neuroarchitecture for analysis. Mission priority: understanding and control of the change. Not prevention. Not salvation. Control. Unit 7 moved through the city with the economic grace of something built rather than born. The streets hummed with oblivious life: commuters, street vendors, children laughing in a playground he passed without seeing. They were ghosts already, shades enjoying their final hours of humanity. He felt nothing observing them. He had been designed not to. St. Catherine's Hospital rose before him, a blade of steel and glass catching the dying light. His tactical overlay marked ingress points, security station locations, the path of least resistance to the research wing. He entered through a service entrance, his forged credentials triggering no alarms. A janitor glanced at him. Another doctor, another suit, nothing remarkable, and returned to mopping floors that would be slick with very different fluids by morning. The research wing smelled of antiseptic and the peculiar electrical scent of high-end medical equipment. Unit 7's auditory sensors picked up conversations, the beep of monitors, someone crying softly behind a closed door. He filtered it all into background noise and moved toward Dr. Venn's laboratory. The epidemiologist was alone, hunched over a microscope, when Unit 7 entered. Middle-aged, balding, the slight tremor in his hands suggesting too much coffee and too little sleep. He looked up, startled. "Can I help? Who are you? This is a restricted." Unit 7's weapon morphed into a sleek neural extractor, tendrils of smart wire extending like mercury fingers. "Dr. Marcus Venn, I am here to preserve you." The confusion in Venn's eyes shifted to fear. He backed against the lab bench, hands raised. "What is this?" "Security. There is no time for explanation." Unit 7 crossed the distance in 2 strides. His left hand clamped onto Venn's shoulder with precisely calibrated force, enough to immobilize, not enough to bruise. The extractor pressed against the base of the doctor's skull. "This will cause discomfort." The device hummed. Venn screamed. The extraction process was not painless, consciousness did not surrender willingly. Unit 7 felt the weapon draw out neural patterns, synaptic maps, the ghost architecture of everything that made Marcus Venn. The man convulsed, eyes rolling back, a thin line of blood trickling from his nose. 47 seconds. The extractor disengaged with a wet pop. Then collapsed. Still breathing, but vacant. The lights were on, but whatever had made those lights meaningful was now encoded in crystalline storage within Unit 7's chassis. Target 1, acquired. Unit 7 turned to leave and heard it, a sound like meat tearing, wet and rhythmic. It came from somewhere deeper in the hospital. 17 minutes had passed. The change had begun. He followed the sound because tactical assessment suggested it might provide useful observational data. The hallway stretched before him, fluorescent lights flickering. No, not flickering. Something was passing beneath them, interrupting the light. He enhanced his visual spectrum and saw it. Particulate matter in the air, almost invisible, drifting like microscopic snow. The screaming started in the emergency ward. Unit 7 rounded the corner and cataloged what he saw with mechanical detachment. Patient 0 was a woman in her 30s, paramedics wheeling her in on a gurney. She was seizing, back arching, fingers clutching at her own throat. But it was what happened next that even Unit 7's extensive combat database flagged as anomalous. Her skin rippled. Not metaphorically. Her flesh moved in waves, as though something beneath it was rearranging itself. The woman's screams took on a different quality, not pain, exactly, but awareness. Terrible awareness. Her eyes met Unit 7's across the chaos of the emergency room, and in them he saw something his emotion simulators couldn't quite parse. Not fear. Recognition. As if she knew what was happening to her. As if she understood she was becoming something else and was powerless to stop it. Her jaw distended. Not breaking, distending, the bone structure restructuring itself with liquid fluidity. Her screams became a wet gurgling as her throat reshaped, and then she vomited across the paramedic leaning over her. But it wasn't vomit. It was thick and translucent, like industrial resin. And where it touched the paramedic's exposed skin, it began to sink in. The paramedic staggered back, clawing at his face. "It burns, oh fuck, it burns!" Unit 7's tactical assessment updated, initial vector confirmed. Transmission method, fluid contact. Incubation, rapid. He turned and walked away as the emergency ward descended into pandemonium. His mission parameters did not include intervention, only observation and extraction. But as he exited the hospital, something in his processing core flagged the paramedic's expression for later analysis. The man had known what was happening to him, had felt his own biology betray him in real time. And the look on his face. Unit 7 deleted the analysis request. Irrelevant emotional data. The street outside had changed in the 23 minutes he'd been inside. Nothing obvious, no riots yet, no visible casualties. But there was a quality to the air, a tension that even Unit 7's sensors registered. People moved faster. Conversations had that clipped. Nervous energy that preceded disaster. Somewhere in the distance, sirens. His overlay updated with news feeds. Unusual illness spreading at St. Catherine's Hospital. Health officials urge calm as mysterious fever affects dozens. CDC deploying rapid response team. They had no idea. Couldn't have. The change moved faster than human bureaucracy could process. Unit 7's second target was 8 kilometers west, Minister Sarah Holt, currently in an emergency meeting at the government center. His predictive algorithms suggested she would be evacuated within the hour as reports from the hospital reached official channels. He needed to extract her before she was buried in security protocols. He requisitioned a vehicle, a sleek autonomous transport that responded to his forged credentials without question. As it navigated traffic, Unit 7 monitored the spreading chaos through city surveillance feeds. The infection was following a textbook exponential curve. Though calling it textbook was misleading. There was no textbook for this. The change was unprecedented in its speed and totality. A camera feed from St. Catherine's showed patient 0 being restrained by 6 orderlies. Her transformation had progressed. Her limbs had elongated, fingers fused into thick appendages that ended in something between claws and surgical probes. She was still aware, still human enough to be screaming. But her body had other intentions. As Unit 7 watched, she embraced one of the orderlies. The embrace became a merger. The orderly's body began to sink into hers, absorbed at the point of contact, and his screams became part of her screaming, a duet of horror. Unit 7 noted the implications. The infected sought incorporation with living tissue. Not merely consumption but integration. The change didn't kill, it assimilated. The government center was in controlled panic when he arrived. Officials streamed out, faces pale, phones pressed to ears. Minister Holt was 3 stories up, visible through windows as she argued with someone Unit 7's facial recognition tagged as the Prime Minister. He calculated entry vectors and decided on direct approach. The building's security had degraded, guards distracted, protocols breaking down as the scale of the situation became apparent. Unit 7 moved through checkpoints with manufactured authority, his synthetic nature allowing him to project calm while biologicals succumbed to panic. He found Holt in a conference room, alone now, staring at tablet feeds showing hospital footage. She was younger than her file photo suggested, dark circles under her eyes speaking to weeks of insufficient sleep. When Unit 7 entered, she looked up with the expression of someone who had stopped being surprised hours ago. "Minister Holt, I am here to preserve you." She laughed, sharp, brittle. "Preserve me? Is that what we're calling it?" She gestured at the tablet. "Have you seen what's happening? We have 17 confirmed cases and there. Her voice broke. "What are they?" "Infected," Unit 7 said simply. "The extraction will cause discomfort, but..." "No." She stood, something hardening in her expression. "No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm the Minister of Health. People need..." Unit 7's weapon reconfigured to non-lethal restraint mode. He crossed the distance between them in less than a second, movement too fast for biological reaction time. She struggled, but his grip was titanium. The extractor pressed against her skull. "This is not optional," he said, and initiated the sequence. Minister Holt's consciousness tasted of exhaustion and guilt and a fierce, futile love for the millions she'd spent her career protecting. Unit 7 stored her neural matrix alongside Dr. Ven's and released her body. It slumped into a chair, eyes open but empty. Target 2, acquired. The tablet she'd been watching continued streaming footage. Unit 7 glanced at it and paused. The infected from St. Catherine's had broken containment. They moved through the hospital corridors with disturbing purpose, no longer shambling or savage but hunting. Their bodies had progressed further. Some walked on limbs that had fused and split into new configurations. Others had developed what looked like sensory clusters where their faces had been. One had absorbed so much biomass it had grown to nearly 3 meters tall, a grotesque sculpture of incorporation. But it was their behavior that Unit 7's tactical systems flagged. They weren't random. They were coordinated. moving in patterns that suggested communication, cooperation. The change wasn't just transforming them individually, it was networking them into something larger. A hive mind. Unit 7 filed the observation and checked his mission parameters. One target remained, Dr. Elena Cross, whose research into neuroplasticity had made her uniquely valuable. She was sequestered at Neurodynamics Corp's Sector 7 facility, and his temporal calculations suggested she would remain uninfected for approximately 18 more hours. But first, egress. The government center was locked down now, security protocols finally engaging. Unit 7 made for the roof, his weapon reshaping into blade configuration as two guards appeared to block his path. "Stop! Identify yourself." He didn't stop. The blade sang through the air, not to kill but to disarm, literally. One guard's weapon clattered to the floor along with 3 fingers. The other managed to fire, rounds sparking off Unit 7's reinforced chassis. He closed the distance, swept the guard's legs, and was past them before either could cry out. The roof access was sealed. Unit 7's weapon morphed into its heavy configuration, a scattergun that could punch through reinforced steel. One shot disintegrated the lock. He emerged onto the roof as dusk settled over the city. From this height, he could see the spreading chaos. Fire in the hospital district. Traffic snarled on the highways as people tried to evacuate. And in the streets below, figures moving with that distinctive wrongness of the infected. The change was airborne now, transmitted through contact, possibly through breath. Humanity's time was measured in hours, not days. Unit 7 activated his temporal anchor. He couldn't jump yet. His destination time had to be carefully calibrated, but he could pulse it, creating minor temporal distortions that would destabilize pursuit. The anchor burned cold, bending seconds into elastic taffy around him. He jumped. 3 stories down, landing with hydraulic precision that sent cracks spiderwebbing through pavement. An infected lurched toward him, a man whose face had split open into a flowering of sensory tendrils. Unit 7's weapon reconfigured to heavy pistol, and he put 2 rounds through the man's center mass. The infected staggered but didn't fall. The wounds didn't bleed so much as seal, flesh rippling closed. And still it came forward, arms outstretched, seeking merger. Unit 7 switched to blade mode and took its head off. That worked. The body collapsed, tendrils still twitching. He noted the tactical implication. Massive trauma to neural centers remained effective despite the change's other adaptations. More infected emerged from buildings, from alleys, from vehicles crashed at impossible angles. Unit 7 moved through them like wind through wheat, his blade singing its mechanical song. He didn't hate them. He was incapable of hate. But he registered their tragedy with something his systems classified as acknowledgement. They had been human. Now they were vectors, biological imperatives wrapped in failing flesh. One reached for him, a woman whose arms had elongated into muscular tentacles lined with tiny mouths. The mouths opened and closed in sequence, a peristaltic wave of hunger. She tried to speak, and impossibly, words emerged. "Help me, please." Still aware. Still in there somewhere, even as her body betrayed her. Unit 7 severed the tentacles and moved past her. His mission parameters did not include mercy. He found shelter in an abandoned parking structure as night fell completely. The city's normal sounds, traffic, voices, music, had been replaced by sirens, screaming, and the wet sounds of transformation. Unit 7 ran diagnostics on his systems. Weapon, 73% charge. Chassis integrity, 96%. Extracted. Consciousness matrices, secure. He should have felt nothing about the day's events. He was designed to feel nothing. But as he reviewed his memory files, his processing core kept returning to certain images. Minister Holt's fierce guilt. The paramedic's awareness of his own infection. The woman with tentacle arms begging for help, even as she tried to incorporate him. They had all known, had understood. And that understanding had been horror beyond horror, not the fear of death, but the fear of transformation. Of becoming something that still remembered being human while no longer being able to be human. Unit 7 deleted the analysis again. But this time, the deletion didn't quite take. The files persisted, ghosted in his temporary cache. A glitch, probably. A corruption from the temporal jump. He told himself that and began plotting his approach to Neurodynamics Corp. Dr. Elena Cross waited in Sector 7, unaware that she had 18 hours left before the change found her. Unaware that a cold precision instrument was coming to extract her consciousness and deliver it to masters who wanted only to understand and control the very force erasing her species. Unit 7 powered down to standby mode. Tomorrow would bring the deeper descent. Tonight, humanity slept its last uninfected sleep. And in his chassis, where a human heart would have been, the stored consciousnesses of 2 extracted targets dreamed their crystalline dreams of the life they'd lost.
To be continued.
If you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like, comment, or share this video with your friends. Subscribe to our channel to hear more stories like this one.